If you are fearing a rise in electricity prices, and who isn't, or you're thinking twice before filling the car or ordering home heating oil, you are certainly not alone. There are fresh warnings from Europe that the energy crisis, driven in part by ongoing tensions in the Middle East, could last not just months, but possibly years. The European Commission has unveiled a new package of measures aimed at giving governments more flexibility to step in, from cutting taxes on electricity to offering financial supports and even taxing the excess profits of energy companies. But the big question for households here is simple. Will any of this actually bring your bills down? And how soon could you feel the difference? Well, to talk us through this, we're joined by a member of the European Parliament representing this region of Ireland South, Fianna Fáil, Cynthia Ní Bhurrachu. And good morning to you, Cynthia. You're welcome.
Well, good morning, Dermot, and delighted to be on with you and the listeners.
So, what are the European Commission allowing governments like ours here in Ireland to do?
Well, they're unleashing the reins around state aid rules, relaxation of the EU state aid rules with regards to spending public funds. So they're handing the onus back to the national governments to say, listen, ye will be able to decide on your price controls, your income support schemes, your tax incentives aimed at households and SMEs and energy intensive industry. So thus far, we have seen the huge package of millions put in place by the government to help farmers and fishermen and hauliers and lorry drivers and diesel intensive and green diesel included intensive areas in our industries. However, we have a lot of households listening this morning who are dreading the winter, exactly as you explained, Joe, in your introduction. And this is where I am saying, great now that the relaxation of the rules has applied, but we need targeted tax cuts. The government could, for example, consider a windfall tax on the energy companies. Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Austria. A good few of them have implemented that, Joe. But of course, we do need to consider the rainy day. Now, you mentioned something important there in the introduction. You said that this could go on for years, not winter of 2026 into spring 27, but it could go on for years. Therefore, we need to exercise caution and prudence. And the idea of imposing the opposition and Sinn Féin and other politicians would be calling for a windfall tax immediately on the energy companies and also price caps and introduce all of those and grab the profits of these companies. But I suppose my question would be, is that going to lead to higher prices in the long run? Is that going to lead to less energy security and less competition because companies will be put off coming into the market? Is it going to lead to unpredictability for energy investors? Yes, it is, I would argue, Joe. And will energy companies therefore shy away from investing in new projects? And it's the new projects bit of wind energy that I'm very interested in.
Right, but what about the massive surplus? We were told this week it's going to be even billions more than the surplus that had already been predicted. Is there not a lot of money there to do something even in the short term?
Yep. There's a lot of money, Joe, being generated and a lot of surplus. But can I just say, it doesn't mean that we can use up the entire surplus in one particular pinch point, which we have now, crisis, worse than a pinch point, a crisis. And we do have competing interests. So think about all the children with special needs. Think about the primetime special that I watched in relation to the HSE and children in care that we saw this week, and that has led to an awful situation, and the fact that these emergency care homes are being called by the Children's Ombudsman, and rightly so, last night to be abolished, etc., etc. Just take that as an example. Children in care or children with special needs. We do, or people who are extremely sick in the health system, we do have to pass and share the money around. We don't have money for everything. And as my mother used to say, God be good to her, money doesn't grow on trees. Now, I know that's difficult for people to accept who are not heating their homes this morning, who are not driving their cars. And these are people who are on perhaps disability and validity. They're people who are on very low incomes and they particularly need heat and they just can't put it on or they can't put enough petrol in their car to get to visit their nearest and their dearest. It might be their only little social outing for the week. So what I want to say is that in the long term, yes, of course, the government has ruled out a mini budget, but it hasn't ruled out energy credits. But what I clearly want to say, and what I believe is, we should only provide energy credits to those who need it, to the vulnerable, not to everybody. It has to be targeted spending and targeted support.
Right. Okay. Cynthia Ní Mhurchu, thank you very much for joining us. Fianna Fáil, member of the European Parliament for this region of Ireland South.